Good morning, brothers and sisters. This is Donald Yates, Map Store TWU Local 100 Vice President, checking in. I know it's pretty early. I'm not really anticipating a big group on here, if at all. But I wanted to get a message out to the membership and have it shared in within the group and outside the group, if you will. I'm not about too much controversy. I just want to, talk some things that's going on with, some of the facts that's going on out here. Once again, I'm right now. I'm at the Union Hall, 195 Montague Street. I wanted to give out a message to the membership and let them know what's going on because there's a lot of misinformation. I see it on the other Facebook channels, and just want to put at least my narrative of truth out there, so people can make a judgment decision on what they're actually looking at, because we know that in the realm of the union there's politics, and in the realm of those politics, some people just don't like people. And if the people that's not liked does something, and then the people that are discerning the information, whether it's negative or not, they may not receive the information well because of where or how the information got dispelled. So I'm, here just to tell you my thoughts on things, let you know that that things are always, the wheels are always turning up here in the Union Hall. The work that's being done here is a reflection of what the needs are of the membership. Sometimes that's not readily seen by our members, and this is obviously the reason and the final result as to why we do these video chats, to let you know what's going on. Now, I'm going to start off this morning about the essential worker pay. There has been not too many folks altogether, but it's the essential work bonus that has not been received by certain people occurred because it's two entities talking to each other. Now you have the people down at Labor Relations who deal only with PeopleSoft. That's a computer software. And then you got the people down at the BSC, who is its own separate entity. And then you got us in the TWU, who is trying to facilitate some or all of these problems. Now, many of the problems that are going on with the essential worker bonus, we are resolving many of the issues, getting people their money. And it's a bit of a process, because at first all the vice presidents, departmental wise, was funneling all the information down to labor relations. Labor relations, they only have one person working on the item, which is causing a significant delay. And then the sources of information were coming from all the vice presidents of the local. We're talking about the MAP Stowe vice president, the TA Surface vice president, the car equipment vice president, and the list goes on, MTA bus and so on. So what we did is, now all the information still goes to the vice president, but then it also goes directly to the president's secretary, and it goes out every Monday to labor relations, all the listings of people who did not receive the essential worker bonus. Now, just in case many of you didn't know, the reasoning that's been said why folks didn't get the essential worker bonus is if you were either FMLA, sick, workers' comp, or any kind of any kind of absence on July 19th, when the contract was ratified. So the BSC automatically locked those individuals out. So what we've in turn did was we unlocked it by submitting the names and getting the folks paid. So I just want, everybody to be aware of that and understand that we are doing the work and trying to get everybody what's due them. Contract implementation. Now, just to give you an update of what we're implementing in the contract, we have out of the COVID families, the people who passed away from COVID, in our contract, we've given coverage to those families so that they can continue with the health benefits. And out of those 59 families that the TA offered them COBRA to cover the bridge coverage, 2 of them took it. So to this date, not every family is actually taking advantage of the medical coverage that was offered through our contract under COBRA. And COBRA, I'm sorry, I misspoke. COBRA is the bridge coverage that covered you until we actually settled the contract. So only 2 people took advantage of it. So right now, I'm under the assumption that only out of the 59 families, only 2 people has taken the coverage that covers them from the COVID deaths. ABA therapy. That's in effect as of July 19th. Any problems with ABA therapies, make sure you get it to your union reps, who in turn will get it to the vice presidents right away if there's a problem. What I must say is that in the ABA therapy, the Transit Authority did not realize what the costs were, and are not really happy about the coverage that they have to provide now, because we have a signed agreement. So if for whatever reason there is any problems, let us know right away. We still have a grievance procedure, and we will prevail in the event that there's a problem. Yesterday at the Union Hall, we had Veterans Day celebration. So we're always thankful for our veterans, and thank you for your service. Indian Day celebration will be this Saturday, 11/18, 158-11 Jewel Avenue. That's in Flushing, Queens. Come on out. Let's celebrate with our Indian brothers and sisters. Get into some serious things. We got the spitting assaults that have been classified as a regular IOD. And this is done in part because management has tried to they're trying to, let's call it a spade a spade. They're trying to improve their availability. They're trying to market wherever they could market things that aren't ironclad in the contract. So spitting assaults has never been an ironclad issue in the contract. It's always been a practice for us. And now they wanted to reset the computers to allow only 1 year for those type of absences. So, of course, we are fighting that through the grievance procedure. And we expect to prevail in that. We are also talking to our friends in government, and we're trying to get laws passed to impact the spitting and make it an assault for transit workers. Now, the reason being that we have to go through these processes is because the law under the penal code deems spitting as a harassment, right? And in most cases, NYPD, if you spit on, they don't really write it up in their reports as an assault. They write it up as a harassment. So we're like the only group that has always preceded that particular incident as an assault, and we intend to continue doing so. But it's going to be a fight. So we are fighting now. We have our people on the ground. The grievances is already filed. We're getting the names of the folks who have been impacted. It's easy for us in the Department of Buses because we can pull you right out of the UTS computer, find where in the informational side where they have reclassified you and made you a regular IOD. So we have done that, and we have submitted those names, and we're fighting that battle. All right. Coming your way is going to be a 24-hour member service. Member services will be open to you for 24 hours. So if you got any issues, there will be someone there that will at least be doing some type of an intake. All right. So that's coming your way. Kronos swipes. Now, during the pandemic, the union fought very hard for you guys not to have to swipe. But prior to that, we fought the fact that Kronos even came on the properties, and we lost that in arbitration. So we do have to swipe. Now that the COVID infractions is over, or greatly reduced for that matter, we must swipe. I have made, I'm not going to say deals, but I've had conversations with management. We need to start swiping so I can get rid of some of these disciplines that they're putting out there. I would encourage all my members, and the officers have also been informed, that if you get a violation for Kronos, make sure you appeal those violations. What I'm expecting everybody to do is swipe moving forward. If you have one particular machine you go and you swipe at and it doesn't work, try another machine. If it doesn't work, bring it to the attention of the supervisor and the manager and the union, letting them know that your card is not swiping, so we can deal with that situation expeditiously. Okay? So again, swipes. We must be swiping in. All right. Open enrollment ended yesterday for our active members, and we have currently for our retirees, our open enrollment will end on the 30th of this month. All right. So let me get to the big ticket item that it's probably going on all over the place, but let me give the current clarity that it deserves. The authority has attempted to reset the UTS computers and the ATS to include AVAs, vacation days, and personal leave days, along with sick absences, working at least 3 days to get the premium pay for overtime. What does that mean? Now I have the step. I have a step 2 here. And I have the arbitration decision on that particular issue. So what it was it was a payment issue for overtime on a scheduled day off. To get that, you had to work 3 consecutive days during the week, right? And what they did, what the Transit Authority did, is they reset the computers to include AVA days, vacation days, personal leave days. If you was absent, and when there were good absences, if you was absent those 3 days, what they did was if you worked in RDO, you didn't get the premium pay for the RDO because they reset the computers. Now, the contract language itself only reads that you had to be at work 3 days, right? Now, it was always referenced to a sick absence. If you was out absent, sick for 3 consecutive days, and then you worked in RDO, then you did not get the premium pay for the RDO. That's only was for sick. They reset the computers to include everything else in the absences. So what we did is we had to file a grievance, which, made big news because people said that the president signed off on a letter and allowed this to happen. Let me tell you something. Untrue. That's not what happened. That's not what happened here. You have a contract. The contract was a very decent contract. We didn't have any givebacks. The Transit Authority really wanted to chime in and dig in on their availability. So now what the Transit Authority is looking into the contract, because they didn't achieve it in the contract, what they're looking in the existing collective bargaining agreement from the 2002 to 2005 book to see where they can enforce some availability issues. So they found that particular clause and they tried to dig in on that clause. Now the issue is UTS is supposed to be exactly the way the contract is. So the UTS computer is built on our collective bargaining agreement. So if we're not looking at it and they make changes, they may be able to get away with something. And for this particular case, it's been a practice that we get paid for AVAs, vacation days, and so on and so forth. And then on an RDO, we still get our bonus pay. So what we achieved is we filed a grievance and we won the grievance. It was an astounding victory. We got things added to the award that we didn't have before, and that's the Transit Authority's fault because they should have never went at it. But that's I just wanted to take it off our president because a lot of people want to put it on our president. It's not the case here. In fact, the president was very enthusiastic about fighting this battle, and we fought it and we won, and that's really all that needs to be understood. Now, the award itself, and the award is interesting, and I need you to, I'm going to read it to you, what we got out of this. The employer's unilateral. Now, what is first of all, when you define the word unilateral, it means something, right? So it was a unilateral action on the Transit Authority's part, which means that the TWU Local 100 had nothing to do with the Transit Authority tried to change. So the employer's unilateral action in changing the clear and consistent application of Section 3.5E and 6.2A2D violated the collective bargaining agreement embodied in the long-standing past practice established by the parties to the extent indicated herein. Employers shall cease and desist from its current application of the provisions at issue. So the arbitrator ordered management to cease and desist what was going on with the UTS computers and the ATS computers. Employees shall be qualified for premium pay for work on an RDO where they work 3 days in a week, in which the RDO falls, which days of work include any combination, vacation days, AVA days, OTO, death and family, bereavement, civil service exams, jury duty, personal leave days, training days, instruction time days, union release, etc. This is a big win for us, brothers and sisters. Consistent with the past practice, excluded from the calculation of the 3 days are other types of leaves: sick days, IOD, suspension time, AWOL, UA, and other leaves without pay, including unpaid FMLA. FMLA that utilizes sick days shall not count towards the 3 days. FMLA that utilizes vacation days shall count towards the 3 days of work. The employers will have 60 days to calculate and pay to members of the union the amounts that would have been paid from the pay period August 27th, 2023 to the date of this award. As the consequence of the employer's unilateral change to the interpretation of the contract. And then the arbitrator writes that they shall retain jurisdiction over this matter to resolve any other disputes arising out of the implementation of this award. So there you have it. So when someone tells you that our president made a deal on this, I want you to define the word unilateral, because it is understood that the transit authority unilaterally made this change. And it was an unfortunate letter that went out by a president of Triple SA by the name of Mike Karubi. Put a letter out on our president. Now, forget the fact whether you felt the president was right or wrong. The fact that you didn't pick up the phone and call the president, because in this line of work, as a union rep in a high office, we coalition with other unions when it comes to dealing with the MTA. We do not we do not write letters and attack other union people, because it doesn't do us any good. Now, I'm gonna go. I'm going to go on a limb here. I've looked at the Triple SA page. I see some of the politics that's involved, and I'm just going to say this. People elect their president or appoint their president how they feel, but pay attention to what their views are personally. They may not like certain type of ethnicities, and that's clearly evident in my humble opinion. And to go and attack a person without finding out what's going on, finding out what the facts, to me is very much problematic. But, you know, the members of Local 100 and Evangeline Byers has even said it in her video, that if it wasn't for Mike Karubi, that this whole thing would have never been fought. Now, that's inflammatory. That statement itself is inflammatory, and it is political by nature. People are, there's getting ready to be the election season. People will be running, so they're gonna say things. They're never gonna agree and say things that's the president did right. So this is why I'm on here. I got to tell you what the president did right. President did this one right. President fought the battle. He did not get on here and attack anybody. He went and he fought the battle. He listened to his vice presidents and the directions that we felt that we should go. And that's just the directions that we went. We went and we represented our members properly. How dare these people say anything other than what really happened? But that's just the nature of this union. Sometimes people speak their narrative. It don't have to be correct. But I'm just wanted to give a little correction and put it out there in plain English. We won. We beat the transit authority's ass. And they're not going to like this decision, because this decision gave us more than what we previously had. The decision only spoke of sick time prior to us having to go to arbitration over them resetting the computers. So this was a great win for us. Those of us who are involved and really in the contract know how big this win is. This is a huge win. This is a huge blow to transit. We won something very big here. Tier 6 refund. Now I got to get out here, and I've been out here shop gating. I was in Kingsbridge the other day, shop gating, and I spoke on the Tier 6 refund, and I was over also talking about this in Mother Clara Hale. And because I didn't get to all my depots in Manhattan and the Bronx, and our maintenance guys for that matter, I do want to let you know what the issues are, because the union previously put out that we're going to get a refund, The transfer authority volunteered and understood there's some wrong calculations here. But the reason why the refunds haven't happened, because when we took a closer look at it, the union as a whole and our president has found that there's problems here. And the problem is there was a simple question that the president asked. And the question that was asked was, what is considered like your minimum pay or your base pay? What is considered your base pay for calculating these refunds? And nobody can answer the question, right? So in the kiosk that they was creating, it was creating a kiosk. It was supposed to explain why you was getting a refund or not getting a refund, because some people will not get refunds. Some people may even owe. So I want to put that out there, because that can happen. If they didn't take the proper percentage or whatever the case may be, you could owe money. All right? Let's put that out there. But in this case, where the battle seems to be about what is base pay. Now, base pay is automatically assumed that it's 40 hours. But wait a minute, not so fast. For a bus operator, a train operator, or anybody that's in the operations, your base pay could be what you picked. And that's what we're trying to uncover right now. So if your base pay is what you pick, then what that means is you may have about 10,000 or less. I'm just throwing a number out there. This ain't a factual number, but you may have a big number out there, and it's based off of an individual base salary. Because you could choose any depot and somebody may pick a 12-hour run and another person may pick a 9-hour run. Those are two different base salaries just based on your pick. And because it's not defined, the union is arguing that your base salary is what you pick in MTA. Now, the other argument that's going on with Tier 6 is not only the refund, but the Tier 6, we're trying to make changes to Tier 6. There's a couple of things that has been discovered that needs addressing with Tier 6. And one of the things that we've discovered, and this is talking to the politicians, not going to reveal no political names, but we sat down with some politicians. And the politicians, a lot of them, because they're human beings and they are who they are, they can't differentiate between the MTA workforce and, let's just say, the state workforce, the union workforce of CSEA, who are over 300,000 members. Their issue with Tier 6 is different than ours, and we've already got the 2555 carve-out for the MTA portion, for the operational portion, and the MTA, or anyone who works for New York City Transit. We got the 2555 carve-out back in 2012. So now the other issue is the overtime cap, right? Now remember, all these Tier 6s in the state, New York, their pension is 63 years old. 30 years of service. At age 63, they can collect a pension. We are 2555. So our issues is we got two main issues. Number one, our issues is the ceiling cap. We want to raise the ceiling cap so that your overtime, more of your overtime will be included into your pension. That's number one. And I want some comment back on this. All right. We need an opinion on what you think, because there is another problem here. And this problem is that with the Tier 6, you got 9 years to average out a salary for your pension, right? 9 years. And that's another problem that we have to address, because the tier 4 pension is between 3 and 5 year average, right? It's the first 2 years and then the 3 years to make the average on what you're going to be living off of for the rest of your life. Right now, the tier 6 is a 9 year average. So that's something we have to work on too. Now, there's some debate on what needs to be worked on first. Do we raise the salary ceiling first? Do we attack that issue first, which could be the easier issue, or do we attack the 9 year average issue? And which one is more sexy? There's a lot of politics that's involved in this. But I would like some feedback on that particular issue. You can inbox me. You can put it here. Let me know what you think. 9 year issue, or attack the overtime ceiling. And I'm giving this message out there, especially on this to my tier 6 brothers and sisters, because we do talk often about doing things for tier 6, and there is a conversation. There is a conversation, but it's not just, hey, change tier 6 and then they change it. We have to have coalitions. We talk to politicians. The politicians must introduce bills, but at this point, we have to engage probably with the CSEA president and see what their feeling is on some of the changes. We probably have to we was in Somos, and these conversations came up in Somos, right, about tier 6 and how and what ways we can do coalition building to make these changes. So it's not just a one-on-one conversation. There's definite coalitions that we have to be involved in and are involved with. I think what we can do better is be more informative on the fact that we are involved with these coalitions and we are having the conversation. The conversation is being had, right? But just because there's no movement on tier 6 as of yet does not mean that the conversations and the discussions aren't occurring. They are occurring. They are occurring. Tier 4, to my memory, took 18 years to make changes. So these conversations are occurring. The only thing I can tell you guys, my tier 6 brothers and sisters, we're in the fight with you because we know what the pension fight's all about. But be a part of the fight. Be a part of the solution. It's not about attacking your own union, about we're not doing enough. We are out there. We are having the conversation. We are talking to the politicians. We just need you to join us, to let them know how meaningful this is. Let them know we vote. We really demand that these changes occur and that you take these conversations very seriously. A lot of what goes on in New York City is paid off of our backs, and it's not fair. We want a fair piece of the pie, and we believe raising that overtime ceiling is fair. Now, back to that 9 year average, as I said, listen, you guys, that are going out on comp and then you're going out for long periods of time, y'all need to pay attention and pay your pension as soon as you come back to work, because this pension deficit will kill you in the end. You do not want that to happen. The last two things I'm going to talk about is workplace violence, because as much as we talk about it in our shop gates, the workplace violence issue is still around. My suggestion as a vice president of a union, if you encounter workplace violence, I encourage you to bring into your local union reps in the depot. Let them see if they can come and give it a resolve. If you can't resolve it, then it will end up going where it goes. But in most times when there's a workplace violence issue, both parties suffer. All right? Is the policy instruction on workplace violence in New York City Transit calls for your termination. We always try to weather that storm and make sure that you do not get terminated. But let cooler heads prevail. Make sure you bring it to your union. Do not go behind your union's back and make claims against another employee, we as a union will defend that employee because that is our job. And once you make a complaint to management directly, you have then became an agent of management, because when those cases make it to arbitration, you become a witness for management to make a case against the other member, and we have to defend the other member, which is why we encourage you to go see a union chair so we can resolve that problem as soon as humanly possible. All right. Last on my list is social media. I always talk about it. Social media is great when you're getting information. You see different things out here, but the information is so limited to a person's narrative. It's limited to what's true and what's not true. It's very limited. Now I'm going to end this discussion by talking about our retirees' health benefits, the 65 and over group. All right. There was a big pushback on that issue from the retirees. Some of our members who have taken up this fight, who are either formerly the opposition or are currently the opposition, are pushing and saying that this Aetna or this Medicare Advantage is not covered in the hospital for special surgery and in Sloan Kettering. Now, they also, as proof, will tell you, look it up online, contact the hospital directly, and the hospital will tell you that, yes, we don't accept that. But then then they'll tell you to look online and tell you exactly what to put online, and they'll say the same thing. What they're not telling you is that Medicare Advantage plans is obligated minimally to cover what Medicare covers, or Medicaid. Medicare, I always get confused on which of the two, but I'm talking about Medicare. Medicare will cover you in Sloan. Medicare will cover you in the hospital of special surgery. So the Aetna Medicare Advantage is obligated to cover you. But what happens is logistically, you go to the hospital, billing and everything Aetna works it out with Medicare, and it's just like a whole three-party system, but they cover it. It gets covered. So if you want to look up something in the computer, because I was told to do a Google search, and I did the Google search. Matter of fact, it was Evangeline Byers who told me to do the Google search, right? Because we was kind of like debating back and forth. So I did a Google search, and in my Google search, I asked the question, does Medicare Advantage have to minimally give you what Medicare would give you? And the answer is an astounding yes. Then we asked, like, for people who were on their deathbed, that coverage, and what the answer was Medicare places that offer that, Medicare Advantage also has to offer that. So the answer, it's not sexy. It doesn't stir the big conversation of controversy, but it is a fact. The fact is, Medicare Advantage has to minimally cover you for whatever Medicaid covers you. This was said in the meeting, the big meeting that retirees had. It was 300 and 400 people there. This was explained to them. I'm explaining it to you the best that I could. I'm not a medical expert, so I don't pretend to be a medical expert, but I do listen and I do make sense out of what I'm hearing. Medicare Advantage has to cover minimally what Medicare would cover. Now, if you spread both arguments, then they're saying, no, it doesn't. The other side's saying Medicare Advantage is not covered in the hospital. Medicare Advantage is not covered here. Medicare Advantage is not covered here. Okay, I understand that argument. Now say the other argument, that Medicare Advantage has to minimally cover what Medicare would cover. Put those together, and then you will find that our retirees has nothing at all to worry about. So this is just words for their political campaign. And I'm saying it here. I'm saying, a lot of you guys know who I am. I'm Donald Yates. I'm not going to get on here and talk about things that are untrue. I just don't do that. What I will do is develop facts over time, look information up myself, and I'll give you the narrative that I come up with. Right? If you can prove me wrong, then I'm listening. I will listen to you. And I will look at what you're saying. Miss Evangeline Byers did say to me, Google it. Well, I Googled it. And I Googled it in the way that it should be Googled. Does Medicare Advantage have to give you minimally what Medicare gives you? That's what I Googled. And guess what? The answer is yes. Google that, folks. Then you will see these people are twisting the truth, because I can tell you, well, they're not really twisting the truth. They're not giving you the complete truth. So this is half the truth, right? If I give you one half of the truth, then you're going to be like, dang, this thing is bad. But I give you the other half of the truth, and you would say, and you put it together, oh, I get it. I understand. We're in good shape. So I say to you guys, they want to put all this onto our president. I know some of y'all don't like President Richard Davis, and sometimes, could be an arrogant guy, but he's a smart guy. I've been dealing with Richard Davis for years. He's a smart guy, right? We beat the Transit Authority in this contract negotiations. You better believe that. And with that, like I said, I'm going to say it one more time. Half the information, certain hospitals only accept Medicare Advantage. The other half of the information, Medicare Advantage has to minimally do what Medicare would do. Put them together? Oh, now I understand. And by the way, our Medicare Advantage, our Aetna Medicare Advantage, was better than the cities, different than the cities. And one thing you guys need to realize, think about it. When you retire, think about what you're retiring with, right? Monetary and otherwise, before you start making these and believing these crapolas on other websites. Thank you for listening to me. Evaluate the things that I said. I'm open to comment on it if you like, and get back to me. Donald Yates is checking out. Have a wonderful day, everybody.